Some of these chainsaws will still be starting on the first pull after 10 years of abuse, and some of them cost less than your last grocery run. I tracked down the 10 most reliable chainsaws you can actually buy in 2026, from an 8-pound beginner saw all the way to an 80cc fuel-injected monster that logging crews run all day, every day. Number 3 comes with a 5-year warranty, but number 1, it rewrote the rules. Let's go. Number 10. Echo CS310. Kicking off the list is the saw I'd hand to somebody buying their first chainsaw ever, the Echo CS310. And before anyone in the comments types "that's a beginner saw," exactly, that's the point. Reliability isn't only about surviving a logging camp, it's about a tool that just works every single weekend for a homeowner who fires it up maybe 10 times a year and expects zero drama. The CS310 nails that. Under the hood, it's a 30.5cc professional-grade 2-stroke engine. Echo puts that same engine architecture in saws that cost a lot more, and it shows in how consistently this thing runs. Dry weight is just 8.8 pounds, so light that people who are nervous about swinging a chainsaw around suddenly feel in control. You can run it with a 14-inch or a 16-inch bar depending on what you're cutting. Here's the feature that actually matters day to day: Echo's i30 starting system. It reduces the effort it takes to pull the starter rope by about 30%. If you've ever watched somebody yank on a stubborn saw 20 times in the driveway until their shoulder gives out, you understand why that's a big deal. Add a toolless air filter cover, a side access chain tensioner, and a digital ignition, and maintenance stays dead simple. But the real headline is the warranty. Echo backs the CS310 with a 5-year consumer warranty, 5 years on an entry-level saw. That is Echo publicly betting that this thing will not break on you, and it's a huge reason Echo has one of the strongest reliability reputations in the entire industry. This is not the saw for felling giant oaks or bucking a winter's worth of firewood. It's for branches, storm cleanup, small trees, and pruning. But for the person who wants a saw that starts, cuts, and gets put back on the shelf without a fight, the CS310 is one of the most dependable ways to spend your money in 2026. Number 9. Greenworks Pro 80V. Number 9 is for everyone who's done with gas entirely, the Greenworks Pro 80V, model CS80L211. And I know some of you just rolled your eyes at battery chainsaw. Stick with me, because the reliability story for cordless saws in 2026 is completely different from what it was even a few years ago. The Greenworks Pro runs on an 80-volt battery platform, one of the highest voltage consumer systems out there, and drives an 18-inch bar. That's full-size gas territory. In independent testing, it turned in cutting times right in the neighborhood of the gas saws it was benchmarked against, which is not something you could say about battery saws in the past. Now, why does going battery help reliability at all? Simple. You delete the parts that break. There's no carburetor to gum up when you leave old fuel in it over winter. And let's be honest, a gummed-up carb is the single most common reason a gas saw won't start in spring. There's no spark plug to foul, no fuel mix to get wrong, no pull cord to snap. You pull a trigger and it runs. For a huge number of homeowners, it always starts is the entire definition of reliable, and electric wins that fight by not having the failure points in the first place. The trade-off is honest. You're tied to battery runtime and recharge time, so this isn't the saw for an 8-hour day clearing a fence line. But the 80V pack recharges reasonably fast. And if you're already in the Greenworks ecosystem for your mower or blower, the batteries share across the whole lineup. That's convenience and cost savings stacked on top of the low maintenance angle. Greenworks has quietly become one of the go-to names in serious battery outdoor power equipment, and the Pro 80V is the saw I'd point a modern suburban homeowner toward. Quiet, no fumes in the garage, no fuel to store, and almost nothing to maintain. Number 8. Makita XCU04. At number 8, the saw that convinced a lot of skeptical contractors that cordless was real, the Makita XCU04. This one's a favorite on job sites, and there's a smart bit of engineering behind why. Instead of building a whole new battery platform, Makita runs the XCU04 on 2 of their standard 18-volt LXT batteries at once, wired together for a combined 36 volts. That is a genuinely clever reliability move. If you're a landscaper or a contractor, you probably already own a pile of 18-volt Makita batteries for your drills and grinders. The same packs power this chainsaw, No new charger, no new ecosystem, no which battery goes in what headache. Everything just works together. The saw itself has a 16-inch bar and Makita's outer rotor brushless motor with a direct drive system. Brushless is the key word for durability. No carbon brushes to wear out, less heat, longer motor life. That direct drive motor spins the chain at up to 3,940 feet per minute, and Makita rates its cutting power as equivalent to roughly a 30-torque gas engine. With both batteries clipped in, the whole thing still only weighs about 11.5 pounds, which is remarkable for how much cutting it delivers. Reliability features are baked in everywhere. Makita's Star Protection computer controls let the tool and battery talk to each other in real time and shut things down before you can overload, over-discharge, or overheat the pack, so you physically can't cook your own battery by pushing too hard. You get toolless chain adjustment, automatic chain lubrication with a large oil reservoir, and a clear window to check oil level without opening anything up. There's also an electric chain brake that trips the instant kickback, throws the guard forward. Fewer moving mechanical parts, computer-managed power, and a battery platform you already own. That combination is exactly why the XCU04 shows up on so many trucks. Number 7. Ego Power Plus CS 1800/CS 2005. The Ego Power Plus line, specifically the CS 1800 and its newer big brother, the CS 2005. Let's start with the CS 1800. It's an 18-inch cordless saw on Ego's 56-volt arc lithium platform, and Ego rates it as the equivalent of a 45cc gas chainsaw. Its high-efficiency brushless motor spins up to 11,000 RPM, and with the recommended 5.0 AAP battery, it'll make up to around 300 cuts through a 4x4 on a single charge. That is a serious amount of work for one battery. You also get tool-free chain tensioning. You literally just twist a dial, plus a bright LED work light for cutting at dusk or during a power outage. Then Ego went bigger. The CS 2005 is the farm and ranch upgrade. A 20-inch bar and a jump up to roughly 55cc gas equivalent power, which Ego says is about a 22% power increase over the older 18-inch model. That pushed Ego out of homeowner toy territory and into saws that genuinely compete with mid-size gas for property work. The reliability case here is the same one that keeps coming up with the best battery saws. No carb, no plug, no fuel mix, no pull cord, but Ego adds its own edge. Their 56-volt arc lithium batteries are built with intelligent power management to prevent overheating, and the entire platform is designed so any Ego battery runs any Ego tool. The CS 1800 carries an IPX4 weather resistance rating too, so a little rain or damp brush won't kill it. Ego has consistently ranked at or near the top in cordless outdoor power for exactly these reasons: strong power, big runtime, and a battery system that refuses to let you abuse it into failure. Number 6. Stihl MSA 220cb. Halfway up the list, and here's where battery power stops apologizing to gas entirely. The Stihl MSA 220cb. This is Stihl's answer to everyone who said a cordless saw could never feel professional, and it runs on Stihl's 36-volt AP battery system. What makes it a reliability standout is that Stihl didn't build a battery version of a cheaper saw. They built it with pro-grade components from the start. It's driven by a commercial-grade high-torque brushless motor. Brushless means no brushes wearing down, less friction, less heat, and a longer service life. And high torque means it doesn't bog and stall the moment you hit a knot in the wood. It'll run bars up to 18 inches. Stihl also obsesses over the cutting hardware, and that directly affects how dependable the saw feels over time. It ships with the Light 04 guide bar, which has induction-hardened rails. That hardening is what keeps the bar from wearing out and going out of spec after heavy use. The chain is Stihl's Pico Super 3, a low-profile, low-kickback chain with a razor-edged, square-cornered cutter shape that slices cleanly even through hard or frozen wood, with minimal friction. Less friction means less heat, less stretch, and a chain and bar that last. Because it's a battery tool, the maintenance burden basically evaporates. No fuel to mix, no carburetor to tune, no filter to clean out after a dusty afternoon, and instant, consistent power delivery from the first second of the trigger pull. No warm-up, no flooding, no cold start ritual. And it plugs into the broader Stihl AP battery family, so the packs carry over to their trimmers, blowers, and other pro equipment. Number 5. Husqvarna 455 Rancher. Now we swing back to gas and into the top 5, and we're starting with an absolute legend of the buy it and beat on it for years category, the Husqvarna 455 Rancher. The Rancher name means something to people who own land, and the 455 is why. At its heart is a 55.5cc X-Torque 2-stroke engine producing 3.5 horsepower. X-Torque is Husqvarna's engine tech that reduces fuel consumption by up to 20% and cuts harmful exhaust emissions by up to 60% compared to older designs, so you're not sacrificing efficiency to get that grunt. It spins up to 9,000 RPM and comes standard on a 20-inch bar, though it'll happily run anything from a 13-inch up to a 24-inch depending on the job. Here's the part that matters for a reliability list. Inside, the 455 uses a forged 3-piece crankshaft. That's a heavy-duty, durable build meant to take punishment during the toughest applications. It's the kind of internal component you'd expect on a pricier saw, and it's a big reason these things survive years of firewood seasons. Husqvarna's air injection system uses centrifugal force to fling the big dust and debris particles out before they ever reach the air filter, which keeps the engine cleaner and dramatically extends the time between filter maintenance. Cleaner air in equals a longer engine life. It's also built to be livable. The low-vibe anti-vibration dampeners soak up the shaking so your hands and arms aren't destroyed after an afternoon of cutting. And Smart Start plus an air purge make it noticeably easier to fire up. A side-mounted chain tensioner means quick adjustments without hunting for the screw, and an inertia-activated chain brake handles kickback safety. The warranty tells you how Husqvarna feels about it. 2 years for consumers, and if you buy their pre-mixed fuel at the same time and register the saw, that stretches to a 5-year consumer warranty. Number 4. Stihl MS500i Farm Boss. At number 4 is a saw with a reputation so bulletproof it's basically a meme in farm country, the Stihl MS500i Farm Boss. When people say just buy a Farm Boss, this is the saw they mean, and it has earned that status one refusal to die at a time. The MS500i runs a 50-point torque engine putting out 2.6 kilowatts. That's about 3.49 brake horsepower, and the powerhead weighs 12.3 pounds. It comes standard with an 18-inch bar and handles a 16 to 20-inch range, which is the sweet spot for a small ranch, a big property, or a serious firewood operation. It's positioned right between a homeowner saw and a full pro saw, which is exactly why it's so beloved. Pro toughness without the pro price. 2 features are the secret to its longevity. First, that efficient engine delivers about 20% longer run times between refuelings while cutting exhaust emissions in half compared to the previous model, so you refuel less and pollute less. Second, and this is the big one, is the pre-separation air filtration system. Before the incoming air ever reaches the filter, centrifugal force spins out the heavier dirt particles and ejects them. The result, the air filter can last up to 5 times longer between cleanings. Dirt is what kills engines, and this system keeps dirt out. That's reliability by design. The little touches all reinforce it. Toolless fuel and oil caps with retainers, no tool needed, and the caps can't get lost. A master control lever that combines choke, throttle lock, and on-off into one simple lever, so starting is idiot-proof. Bumper spikes for control, a side-access chain tensioner, and high-tech polymer housings that are lightweight, corrosion-resistant, and take a beating. Number 3. Echo CS590 Timberwolf. Number 3, and this is the saw Echo built its entire reputation on, the CS590 Timberwolf. Ask around in farm, ranch, and firewood circles about the most reliable saw for the money, and this name comes up over and over, and there's a warranty behind that hype that almost nobody else matches. The Timberwolf packs a 59.8cc professional-grade 2-stroke engine making around 3.89 horsepower. Dry weight is 13.2 pounds, and it's available with an 18-inch, 20-inch, or 24-inch bar, so you can size it to everything from bucking firewood to felling bigger trees. Echo loaded it with features you'd normally only find on the expensive European saws, which is why it punches so far above its price. Let's talk about why it's a reliability monster. It has Echo's G-Force engine air pre-cleaner, which uses a vacuum created by the engine flywheel to pull dirt and debris out of the airbox before it ever reaches the filter. Same idea as the best pro saws, keeping the filter cleaner and the engine breathing clean air far longer. The 2-piece heavy-duty air filter has tool-less access, so cleaning it takes seconds. There's a decompression valve that reduces the effort it takes to pull the starter rope, a digital ignition that automatically adjusts engine timing for optimum performance, and a translucent fuel tank so you can eyeball your fuel level at a glance. An adjustable clutch-driven automatic oiler only feeds oil when the chain is actually moving, which saves bar oil and reduces mess. But the real mic drop is the warranty. Echo backs the CS590 with a 5-year consumer warranty on a 60cc saw. That is Echo saying out loud, "We do not expect this to break, and we'll prove it." Combine a genuinely pro-grade engine, class-leading air filtration, and that kind of warranty confidence, and you get one of the most trusted saws on the market at any price. Number 2. Husqvarna 550 XP Mark II. We're into the professional tier now, and number 2 is a saw built for people who cut wood 8+ hours a day and cannot afford downtime. The Husqvarna 550 XP Mark II. This is the second generation of Husqvarna's benchmark 50cc Pro saw, and Mark II isn't just marketing. They redesigned it for demanding all-day felling, limbing and bucking. It runs a 50.1cc engine that delivers a full 4 horsepower with a max power speed of 10,200 RPM. That is the most power in the 50cc class, packed into a slimmed-down, easy-to-maneuver body that pros can swing all day without wrecking their arms. It runs a tight 325-inch pitch chain and takes bars from 13 up to 20 inches. Here's what separates a pro saw like this from a homeowner saw on a reliability list. It's engineered to survive continuous professional abuse. Everything is beefed up and tuned for uptime. Husqvarna's low-vibe anti-vibration system is critical here. It's not just comfort, it's what lets an arborist or forestry worker run this saw for a full shift without the vibration destroying their hands over a career. The oil pump has adjustable flow with no flow at idle, so lubrication is dialed exactly where it needs to be to protect the bar and chain. Fast chain acceleration from idle means the saw is instantly ready cut after cut after cut, which is how pros actually work. The 550 XP Mark II is a favorite of professional forestry and tree care crews specifically because it holds up. When your income depends on your saw starting and cutting reliably every single time, you don't gamble, you buy the tool with the track record. Husqvarna has been building forestry saws for well over a century, and this is the model that carries that pedigree in the do-everything 50cc size class. It's more saw than most homeowners will ever need, and that overbuilt pro-grade durability is exactly why it's this high. Number 1. Stihl MS500i. And the number 1 most reliable chainsaw of 2026, the saw that genuinely rewrote what a chainsaw could be, is the Stihl MS500i. Here's the claim to fame, and it's a real one. The MS500i is the first ever chainsaw on the worldwide market with electronically controlled fuel injection. Every other saw on this list, and almost every saw ever built, uses a carburetor. And remember what I told you back at the start of this video, a gummed up, out of tune carburetor is the single most common reason a saw won't start or won't run right. The MS500i deletes the carburetor entirely. There's nothing to tune. The electronics manage fuel delivery for you, automatically, which is a massive leap in consistency and dependability. The numbers are monstrous. It's a 79-point torque power plant producing roughly 6.7 horsepower, with a power head weight of about 13.9 pounds. Do that math and you get one of the best power-to-weight ratios of any production chainsaw on earth. Stihl designed it to be the benchmark. It's built exclusively for forestry personnel and tree service professionals who run a saw most of the working day. Now, why does fuel injection make it the reliability king? 2 reasons. First, the fuel injection system maintains consistent performance regardless of altitude or temperature. Take a carbureted saw from the valley up a mountain, or from a warm afternoon into a freezing morning, and it can run rough until you retune it. The MS500i self-adjusts and just runs, same power, everywhere, every time. Second, chain acceleration from idle is dramatically faster than a carbureted saw, so it responds instantly, cut after cut all day long, without the hesitation that wears on both the operator and the machine. Yes, this is a serious professional tool with a professional price, and it's overkill for a homeowner trimming branches. But the question was reliability, a saw that delivers identical dependable power in any condition, that eliminates the number 1 failure point of every other chainsaw, and that pros trust to earn their living every single day. That's the Stihl MS500i. It's not just the most reliable saw of 2026. Which one would you actually put in your garage? Drop the number in the comments, and if this helped you spend your money smarter, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. See you in the next video.